what you portray in those early chapters is the way that the West came to understand China and understand it as a very great ancient civilization that had come through to the modern world. And even in the 18th century was seen almost as a paradigm of a great ancient civilization. The rule of the philosophers, 𝗱𝗲𝘁𝗶𝗹𝘀 called it, didn't he? Viewing Western countries in a rather critical light compared with what China had achieved in its body politic and its social policies and everything else. But that changes in the 18th century, doesn't it? So maybe we can zoom on, and I wish we had several talks like this to really ask you in detail about this. Let's zoom on to this, what you call the mission impossible, which is the Macartney embassy of reaching China in 1793. And this is seen as in both cultures probably, as a cardinal moment, isn't it? Do you want to just tell us briefly about Macartney?
Macartney's story, I think, is most well known, perhaps. Before I wrote the book, I thought, well, maybe I'll focus on other things, but I still ended up having the largest chapter because it is so much, the story is so amazing. And I tried to, because you mentioned the changing perceptions of China, I just tried to tell the story in synchronic comparison between China and Europe at the time, which tried to put the story of China back into world history. So at first, Shen Fuzhong's time, China was a romanticized, utopianized version. It was imagined. The perfect model of political statecraft. Everything was just put as a model for the West to emulate. By Macartney's time, there was a changing, definitely, because he was the one actually said that back in 1773, Britain was the vast empire that the sun will never set. I didn't know it come from him because it came known as a nickname for Britain. It's the sun never sets.
I mean, he'd been a governor in South India. He'd been ambassador to Russia. Of all the people in the 18th century, Macartney probably had the widest experience of other cultures across the world, the Caribbean. A very acute mind.
But that sense of pride you can feel, and then for a good reason, because when he visited China, there's already there's already the Industrial Revolution, and it's after the Age of Enlightenment, and those are the two major things I think set the divergence. Because when you have the Age of Discovery, for example, China was not lagged behind. Actually, 𝗱𝗲𝘁𝗶𝗹𝘀's voyage was actually almost a century earlier in terms of the Age of Discovery. But his voyage was not for the purpose of discovery of new knowledge. But we're not talking about 𝗱𝗲𝘁. But after that, there's too many things. After that, when we have the Age of Enlightenment in China, we still have this literary inquisition. That in modern days is called speech crime. People are not encouraged to have different thinking, new thinking. You could get yourself in prison or even killed. So everything has to be the one way, to ancestors' way. But in Europe, the Age of Enlightenment, that was scientific progress. That was liberal, political sources were all at that time, and was the gap. Was accelerated by the Industrial Revolution. So it's in the same year. On the one hand, you have this Industrial Revolution, and on the other hand, we have this restrictive Canton system. You are expanding. The same year when Canton system came into practice, Britain captured Bengal. It started expanding the whole global, trading network. So you see the contrast there. But when Macartney visited, obviously Britain was on the rise, but Qing China at that time was also in its heyday. Qing was 150 years old, very stable. So the high Qing, we look at the three emperors, Kangxi, Yongzheng, and Qianlong. So it's Qianlong's time. Now looking back, we can see a clear curve. Yeah. At that time, people don't have that foresight or hindsight, but we can see one is really on the rise, one is on the top already. But the thing is, I think McCartney's embassy, they have made some, when I say mission impossible, is looking back. I think he made lots of wrong assumptions. Yeah, he didn't really understand what is 天下, what is the Chinese understanding of the world. Here we think, well, you talk about the world, everyone is on the same page, we all know what we're talking about. But Chinese people don't talk about the globe geographically or the world politically. They talk about 天下 ideologically. Yeah, it's boundless. It's just China is the only country that was the emperor. It's called, the emperor called himself the son of heaven.
All under heaven.
Yeah, and son of heaven to rule everything under heaven. Yeah, it's the celestial sort called. Yeah, so China does not see itself as part of the world. It formed a world of its own. Yeah, so it's just not, we're talking about the same thing. The other wrong assumption is about trade. Yeah, British people think trade is for an island nation. It's essential needs. Yeah, it just assumes everyone thinks the same because trade is for mutual benefit. From the first letter from Queen Elizabeth I, when I read it, I said, oh, such a modern language used. We are here to build friendship, trade for mutual benefit. Yeah, reciprocity, all those words are in the letter dated in 1583. I find it hard to believe. Yeah. But Chinese people, the emperor does not think trade is that important because we are an agriculture economy, self-contained, large empire. We have a Grand Canal that links North and Western China. We have eternal circulation, completely self-sufficient. Yeah. So trade is not as important as the priority is security and stability.
Still the same.
It's still the same.
Still the same.
Many things remain the same.
Yeah. So Macartney thought that, sorry to interrupt you, but Macartney thought, first of all, that they could change China. But he thought that this change would be to China's benefit. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You brought up one thing. I tried to make the difference. Even if Britain was as a latecomer, centuries behind its European neighbors, but when it appeared on the stage and joined the game, he did not appear as just another Western Ocean country. He became the first one who want not just to exchange goods with China, but want to change the rules of exchange. And Britain was the first country to challenge the quota system and the yi, in Chinese word, which refers to foreigner as barbarians. Yeah. To the point, in 1858, at the end of the Second Opium War, there is the Treaty of Tianjin. There was a special article in that treaty just to remove the use of yi, and also to just make it clear, Western ceremony will be performed by our envoys. No more koto. And also all foreign diplomatic official communications must be written in English. And Chinese become a translation. English has to be the definitive version, yeah. But that's all achieved after Macartney.